one of the things that I think is extremely hard to understand, I think we understand the normal kinds of corruption we see around us in different administrations, and certainly in the Trump administration. Trump is actually literally selling access to himself for $5 million a pop. If you want to come in a group of 20, it's only $1 million a person, um, which is just mind boggling. But I think what people have a hard time grasping is cryptocurrency and what cryptocurrency is and how it fits in all this. Now, I am not an expert in cryptocurrency, so I'm going to give you the overview of what cryptocurrency looks like without delving into all the many different permutations of it. The place to start, weirdly, is with the idea of what money is. Actually, all money is an agreement among people that they consider something of value. And a state that is a government has said, okay, we're going to agree that's a unit of value, and we're going to put our weight behind that unit of value. And that's a bit of a simplified version of what currency is. But I want to get away from the idea that something that doesn't exist couldn't be currency, because it could be if we agreed for it to be. And that's somewhat important to remember when you think about cryptocurrency. All right. Except currencies are established by states. They're overseen by, and I don't mean the US states. We had that system before the Civil War, but I mean national governments, the countries. So currencies are established by countries, which means that they operate under the law. They are overseen. You can't cheat with them. I mean, people do, but there's laws about not doing that. And there's an international system of currencies that oversees the way they operate so that people can't launder money, for example. Again, they do, but there are laws against that. So with luck, we catch them when they do that. Cryptocurrency is not a state-backed currency. And states currently do not, most of them, there's a few that do. Most of them do not consider it a currency. They consider it an asset so that you can invest in it, you can own it, but it doesn't have the backing of anything. So it can rise and fall just like a Beanie Baby or like a Smurf doll, or like gold. It can go up or it can go down, but it is not tied to anything. All right. So the reason I'm pointing to that now is that the Trump administration is using cryptocurrency in what certainly appear from the outside to be extraordinarily corrupt ways. So you need to understand that the Trump organization owns the majority of a company called World Liberty Financial. World Liberty Financial has its own cryptocurrency, which is shown by a $sign and the letters WLFI, World Liberty Financial International, I think is what it stands for, WLFI. And you can invest in that. And the profits from that investment go, a lot of them go to the Trump family organization. People who want, especially from foreign countries, who want to ingratiate themselves with Trump, have been investing in that currency, in the WLFI currency, including pretty dramatically a man named Justin Sun, who's a Chinese national who was in trouble with the SEC. He put $75 million into their coin, and then he asked for Trump to help him get the SEC to put off his troubles with them because of money laundering, and in fact that case did get paused, and now he's negotiating a settlement. But it's not just that. I hope this helps. For me, the cryptocurrency stuff is really hard to untangle, but that's not it. World Liberty Financial has its own coin, but it's also got another one that's called a stable coin. And stable coins are called that because they are pegged to a currency. So stablecoin is pinned to the US dollar, and that should mean that it's more stable than something else, which can go up and down, as I say, like a Beanie Baby. And people made a ton of money on Beanie Babies, right, when they were really valuable, but then a lot of people invested and they ended up being worth nothing except their cute little Beanie Babies. And they lost their shirts. And the same thing happens with normal cryptocurrency. It doesn't happen as much with stable currencies, stable coins, although it can. They have another stable coin, WLF does, and that is called USD1. And USD1, dollar sign USD1. USD1 is a stable coin that is part of World Liberty Financial. Now, last week, an investment company that is backed by the government of United Arab Emirates put $2 billion into that stablecoin as it was completing a deal with a different cryptocurrency exchange called Binance. Why does that matter? It matters because the way you make money if you have a stable coin, because you're not playing with the market the way you can with another coin, the way you make money is you take that money and you invest in it, and whoever owns the stable coin gets the investment money. So by investing $2 billion, it appears as though the government of the UAE, or this investment company backed by them, has just essentially given this company that the Trump organization has the majority of $2 billion to play the market with and keep whatever they make. I suppose they could also lose their shirts, but it certainly looks as if this is an attempt to put significant money from the government of the UAE into the pockets of the Trump organization. There is also another cryptocurrency coin that matters for the Trump administration, and that's that Trump, you may remember, on January 17th, 3 days before he took office, launched his own meme coin. Now, a meme coin, there's a bunch of different kinds of coins, and a meme coin is one based on an internet meme, and it goes up and down, again, like a Beanie Baby. And that, once he announced it, lots and lots of people invested in it, but it lost about 88% of its value within a couple of months. And when that happened a few weeks ago, Trump announced that the top 220 owners of that meme coin could have a special dinner with him and a private tour of the White House. The few of them get a private tour of the White House. And that promptly created so much trading that it created about $900,000 worth of profits to the traders. And of course, that would involve the Trump administration. So there is this real level of corruption and grift in the Trump administration that is also, I think, something that he's trying to make sure people look the other way rather than they're seeing. And of course, I'm not talking today, because this is a shorter one, about the different ways in which the Trump administration is losing favor with people around the country. But that's a really big deal right there. So what's happening with that? First of all, you're seeing this, I think, this attempt among the Trump administration to distract people so they don't see the extension of the economy in such a way that it benefits the very wealthy and basically really badly hurts the vast majority of Americans.